This is not the direction I was supposed to be going. This is not even the same bay I was supposed to be in. But things changed on this overnight camping trip. So stick around and find out what happened. We're in the last little stretch of fall here in Maine. The sun is still warm in the days and you can feel it kissing your skin and warming you up, but at nights it's getting quite chilly. In fact, last night was the first freeze of the year. I'm out here to have an overnight camping trip to an offshore island to enjoy some of that last stretch of fall. In addition to it being really cold at night, it's going to be predicted to be 20-25 knot gusts tomorrow, so the winds aren't great. It's also going to be dark at like 5:15 because of the time of year. So we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of daylight. So let's go get camp set up before it gets dark. I left out of the Harrington town landing today with the goal of getting to Flint Island. There's a beautiful campsite on Flint Island that I'm going to have an overnight camping trip on. I chose Flint Island because I know I'll be able to get some campsites that'll protect me from the pretty big winds that are coming in tomorrow. And then coming back to where I need to be tomorrow, I know I'll have those winds at my back, and I'll also be able to island hop, kind of keeping the fetch or the bulk of the wind behind me as I work on the leeward side of islands back to where I need to be. So it's a bit of a strategic decision this late in the year to get a spot that I know I can hang out comfortably on and then get back safely. There's also a fire pit on this island, and if time permits and I have enough time to gather some firewood, I may enjoy a campfire tonight. Leaving the town landing, I made my way south along Ripley Neck. Not too much to note in that area. Harrington Bay is a long, shallow bay. I say half of it drains out with low tide. From there, I crossed the mouth of Harrington Harbor, past Stout Island over to Dyer Island, the north side of Dyer Island. And now making my way around some ledges. This is Tommy Island I'm coming up to. And I see Shipstern Island, and I'll start to see Flint Island here as I come around a little bit more. One of the last times I scrambled over rockweed and sharp rocks to get a shot of something, I put a hole in the knee of my dry suit. So not this time. Pay attention. How are we going to get up here? Been trying to beef up my seaweed game, and inside all of this knotted rack there is an epiphytic seaweed that the guy I'm reading called Mermaid Pubes. So it's got another name. I'll put it on the screen. I forget what it is. How do they taste? Briny, citrusy, crunchy, really lovely. Hope I don't have any mermaid pubes in my teeth. Yummy little seaweed. That's one of my projects I'm working on, just getting to identify seaweed and what's edible. I mean, most of it's edible, but what you would care about eating, care for eating, what you might want to harvest. So it's been fun. Little stop there to take care of a few things. And now we'll make our last little bit to the south side of Dyer before crossing over to Flint. I've never camped on Flint. I've stopped there a whole bunch and definitely seen from season to season, the fire pit get built up by some locals. There's a little hill that's got some trees on it that seems like it might offer some nice campsites. And then there's some grassy areas. So I'm not really sure where I'm gonna park tonight, but maybe that's one of the reasons I kind of want to get there. I want to figure out where I'm gonna camp and where I'm gonna be and get cozy and get set up and not feel like I'm rushing. See the front moving in off on the horizon, this dark band of clouds coming in. Yeah, so that's what's on its way. This island, Flint, is part of the Nature Conservancy now. It was purchased in like the 1930s by a family of vacationers who would come up here and enjoy the island. And in 1968, when they passed, or the people who loved the island the most passed, or the parents passed, it was sold to the Nature Conservancy for a ridiculous rate, really just motivation to get this area protected. There's a plaque on the island commemorating those owners that I'll show you. Nice stretch on that crossbow rudder. Hey team, we made it to Flint Island and we hit a snag. I've come to this island, I don't know, 6 times in the past 2 or 3 years, and there seems like there's always been a fairly established campsite and a pretty substantial fire ring as early as like May of this year. But as I was paddling up this time, I noticed something on the trees that I'd never seen before. And the landowners have changed how they want people to use this island. So no camping and no campfires. So it's a bit of a head scratch of what do I do? And if it was an emergency, I would stay here. It's not an emergency. And I want to be responsible in what I show you. So my decisions were figure out how to wrap this up in a bow, be like, it didn't work. Oh well, and then go back to Harrington and go home. Or plan B, which is actually becoming plan A, is to make a 3-mile sprint, honestly, just because of the time of day, over to another island that I know is a camp spot. This wasn't a Maine Island Trail island, so it's always not been on the Maine Island Trail app. So I was just going off of what I'd known and heard and local knowledge. I even walked over to where the fire pit is, and that's completely deconstructed. And yeah, like last May or June, it was a beautiful fire pit. And then I walked up to where the campsites were, and there are rocks scattered all over the grassy areas where it looked like beautiful campsites before. And yeah, I think I'm gonna get back on the water and get over to Sheep Island. So that's the plan, and it's going to be a little bit of a rush. I don't know how much of you I will see, or how much of me you will see between now and then. Okay, well, catch you in a little bit. Before I forget, I wanted to show you the plaque to the Parsons who owned this island, and then their estate sold it for almost no money to the Nature Conservancy. Well, hello again, and you can see I have successfully made it to camp. It was about an hour and 20 minutes over getting set up, maybe another 30 minutes getting the boat up and getting things sorted, and then yeah, tent is up and we are ready to start getting cozy for the night. I wanted to just show you what I take in my PFD. We're sort of talking in this episode about like preparing for winter and shifting for winter. And while this isn't necessarily what I would take in the winter in the PFD, I take this all the time. It just kind of felt like it fit in, and I thought you might want to see what's in my PFD. And this is pretty standard. I don't really change out what I carry in my PFD very much. In my PFD, I have my Garmin InReach. And the Garmin InReach is a two-way communication. I can, when I don't have cell service, I can communicate with people And I also have an SOS button that I can communicate with, that it'll track my location and get help. Also in this pocket, I've got my little notebook and my mini pencil. And I write things down like the tide or the weather before I leave. I'll also, as I mentioned, write down kind of where I am. If I'm like on the south side of this island, or if I'm making a move, I know how far it is to get to the next island. I'll just write some things down to keep myself in the game, so to speak. Also in this pocket, let's see, some chapstick. And it's always just great to have chapstick. I probably used it 4 times today. And then this pocket will also have, I don't have anything in here, it'll also have a pocket snack. It's something that I can eat on the water. I've already had my pocket snack today, but a granola bar, a little bag of dried fruit, or some peanuts, just something I can get quickly when I'm on the water and nibble quickly. I also have a whistle on my PFD. This is Coast Guard required to have a whistle, and I have a whistle on my PFD. And then I also use a water bladder, Cocatat Dromedary, I think is what it's called. It snaps on, or it velcros on pretty easily to most PFDs. Some it doesn't particularly well, but most it does. And then hiking style water bladder in the back. A lot of people don't like it. I really do. It makes it so I drink water when I'm out and about instead of carrying something in my boat, or like only drinking when I stop somewhere. I'm much more likely to stay hydrated when I paddle with this versus not. Okay, this PFD also comes with a little belly pocket. I've got a few more personal needs here. Advil and lens wipes. Those are usually the things that I tend to need the most when I'm on the water. I do carry a full first aid kit in my boat, but it's a little harder to get to when I'm on the water. So if I'm doing something and I just need to grab some Advil, I can be prone to headaches when I'm out from eye strain. So Advil does the trick for me. So that's Advil and lens wipes. And then in this pocket, I carry my rope knife. I find I use this more to like cut an orange when I'm on a trip or open a tricky bag, but I do have my knife tucked away and ready to go. Okay, also in this section, I've got another pocket with a few more things in it. I have my protractor. This is just a compass wheel with north, south, east, and west, and it's a real easy way to grab bearings. You've seen me use it on the channel. It's a real easy way to grab bearings while you're on the water quickly. I don't write down bearings as much, honestly, anymore, just because I have this and it's so quick and it's so versatile. Like when I made this crossing here today, I just whipped it out, saw what I needed to do. It made sense from what I was seeing, and I just went for it. I probably use that almost as much as I use the chapstick in my PFD. That's something that I get into that quite a bit. I also have hand warmers. It's getting a little colder, so I've got hand warmers. This is, so this is like personal care. We saw communication. This is navigation. There's some themes you're starting to see of different areas. The knife is also some safety. So just if I get cold on the water, I've just got a way. If I was on that crossing and I got cold, I could rip this open, pry open the gasket on my neck and throw it in. I just keep my hands warm on that crossing. I also have a very, very, very simple first aid kit with me. This has really bare minimum of things that I would want to take care of on the water. It's got antiseptic towels, Band-Aids. It's got CPR mask. It's got a little bit of electrical tape. It's got a few other things that I've put together and just vacuum packed and sealed, and it just lives in here. I don't take this out. It lives in here, and I know I've got first aid access to first aid items if I need it. And then I have a compass. I find the protractor a lot easier for grabbing bearings quickly. The compass is great if I need to do a little bit more work on the water or to get a little bit more fine-tuned, or if the compass for some reason on the bow of my deck, if something goes wrong with that, or it's too foggy or too dark and I can't see it really well, I can pull this out and I've got my compass closer to me. I also tether this. This feels like a vital thing to not lose. You also maybe noticed my Garmin was tethered. It's a vital thing to not lose, as well as the whistle. The whistle's tethered. Yeah, and then the only other thing that I have in this that is worth showing, it's not even worth showing, it's just the only other thing I have in here. And man, I am losing light. I also, in my dromedary pocket, I have on my dromedary bag, I do have a small pocket, and in it, I keep a boat repair kit. I used to keep this in my PFD, but in the front pocket, but there's just a lot going on in there. My friend Janet recommended putting it in your water bladder, because if you're going to do a boat repair, you're not alone. There's someone else there with you, and they can easily get into this pocket. This is not something I can access on the water, but this has got some towel. It's got some 3M flashing that I can, if we do have to effect a repair on the water, we can deal with this. We can deal with the person in the boat, get them on someone's back deck, or get them somewhere over across a couple of boats, haul their boat up, dry it off with a towel that's sealed in this vacuum bag, and then put the 3M tape on, and you're going to be good to go and good to get to where you need to get to. So I've got something to fix boats, I've got something to fix people, I've got something to communicate to people with, and then I've got things that I need on the water, like a pocket snack or water. So that's what I keep in my PFD. You're all going to have your own things you keep in your PFD. It's a personal decision. What are some of the things that you keep in your PFD and why? What choices have you made? And what works for you? Let me show you around a little bit more at camp. I'm losing light here pretty quickly, so I'm not really sure how much of this is going to get out. I think everything I do for dinner is going to be in the dark. But yeah, there's the little tent site. After I got the gear out of the boats and the boat up, the next thing I did was just get some of my wet gear off and try to let it dry. I'm not really sure how successful it's going to be, but I'm going to try to let some of it dry and try to let it air out a little bit. I'll put it in the boat tonight before the dew comes, which is honestly going to be pretty soon. The boat's looking good. I'm not even going to tie it up tonight. No need to tie it up. There's another campsite big enough for a small tent on this side, the southern side, through this little path that I've camped at before. This is kind of my preferred site, and this is the site I tell friends about if they're coming here. But this little spot here is just a nice little spot, and I always get already catching the breeze. It's quite a bit colder here compared to inland a bit. Definitely not what I expected. Definitely a teeny bit stressed out about time. It all worked out. I would have chosen something different if this wasn't going to be an option. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing the things we saw today. I hope you enjoyed learning that Flint Island is not a camping site. You're welcome for supplying that information for you. Again, if it wasn't safe, I would have chosen a different option. I would have gone back to the landing and gotten out of here. Yeah, grateful for the opportunity. I'm going to continue to soak this in. I'm going to let go of some of that anxiety of, is this going to work? Oh my gosh, now I have to go over here. Am I going to get set up? That's all done. Everything is safe. Everything is settled, and I can enjoy myself out here without worrying about anything. So maybe there's a lesson in there I got to learn, apparently. All right, friends. Well, I hope you have a good crossfade or maybe a time lapse of the sunset, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye, friends. Good morning. The night was good. I was cozy. It was nice and toasty in here. Plenty warm. Slept really soundly, aside from the normal first night camping, getting used to sounds, getting used to things. I was comfortable. I wasn't up all night. The rain started 3 a.m., 4 a.m. and started soft, and then it got kind of hard, and now it's soft again. But I just really love the sound of rain splattering on the tent, rain hitting the tent. It's a nice way to sleep. And I slept in a bit without the need to get back to where I started yesterday. And all of that change of plans, I slept in, and it was fantastic. So a bit of a luxurious morning. I'm about to go see what it's like out there. Rain isn't too bad. I think it's just mostly windblown. The ocean looks like a washing machine today, so I'm glad I altered my pickup location and don't have to deal with multiple hours of that. Yeah, I'm just gonna get sorted this morning, get organized a little bit, and then see if I can show you around. I appreciate how Thermarest made a bag that fit their product. The easiest thing to do is just to put my dry suit on instead of dealing with a backpacking, lightweight rain pant, rain jacket situation. So I just got the dry suit on and walking around the island a little bit. Let's go check out what it looks like along the south. This is the direction that storm or that front is coming from. We go out there. Keep walking towards the west side of the island. Dude looks like a ghost crab. He's so bleached out. Big difference between the windward side of the island facing south and the leeward side here. The shift to winter is always a tricky one for me psychologically. It's that grasping onto the comfort and the ease of summer and all that winter entails, and at least here in Maine, like the long, hard months of winter are not easy. It's really impermanence, right? It's like that existential realization, a visual representation of, oh, things are changing. Things die off. Things come back. Some things don't come back. Yeah, there's a little bit of that, I think, in this transition time of getting ready for winter and preparing for winter and just starting to like hold winter in our psyches. What are you? You're pretty. All right, coming to the eastern point of the island and just trying to look at the crossing that I'm going to need to make over to the mainland. Let's see, it's almost high tide, and we've been wind with tide, which usually makes the waves seem a little smaller. And when I cross in a little while, I will be definitely into the ebb, and I will be wind against tide. So this is going to look a little grosser, maybe a little steeper when I'm out there. While I could have gone to a different landing and made my trip a little bit longer this morning, I was going to put myself into some conditions where I didn't really need to be in, it wasn't necessary. There's an acronym that a coach shared, Josh Hall, SEEN, safe, efficient, effective, and necessary. And I love that. I use it so much. I use it at work. I use it all over the place. And just to get to the point, that crossing around that point just wasn't necessary. It wasn't as effective as it needed to be. I could make it safe, as degrees of safety that different people are comfortable with. It's not as safe as some other options. Anyway, it just didn't check enough of the boxes. If it was a multi-day trip, honestly, if it was a multi-day trip, I'd probably stay here another day with the forecast that's out there. I'd probably stay on this island for 2 days and let this storm pass if this is a multi-day trip. Hello, anybody home? Nope, nobody home. Someone was lunch. Camp's all packed up and the boat's ready to go. And I'm gonna make my jump over this channel back to where I need to be. I expected to be in stuff that kind of looked like this with a tailwind and island hopping, being protected by the islands as the wind's coming from the south, but that's not what happened. I really enjoyed this time out here late fall and exploring this time of season. It's going to make me grateful for the times in summer when it's 75, 80 degrees and sunny with a light breeze. Those times are going to be really special, but these times are also their own kind of special and their own uniqueness and their own moodiness. It's when we grasp onto those things, I think, when we want to have a certain type of experience that expectations and reality don't meet up. I'd love to know your thoughts on the transition into fall and into winter and some of the things that you shift in your kit or your mentality. What shifts in your mentality and your psyche as you move into winter? Well, we're going to wrap this one up here because I'm not sure what video footage in this channel is going to look like. So as always, I hope you enjoy your adventures, whatever they are. And until next time, safe paddling. Goodbye, everybody.